Well, it's the last morning of the rally. Everybody's packing up and heading out. And I have a decision to make today because tonight I was planning to go to Paisley, small town on the way back to my home, and spend the night there so I could break up the ride back into 2 days, make it more manageable. But Mother Nature's not cooperating, and there's like a 80% chance of rain. Going to happen later today, so I could make it to Paisley and not get wet, but from Paisley home tomorrow it's probably going to be raining on Monday, so I'm inclined to make the long slog back from Crane Hot Springs back to my home in Ashland, Oregon. 80% sure I'm going to do that, but I'll probably make the decision on the ride out. I'm all packed up, ready to hit the road. 2 bars on my gas, so I'll need to pick up gas at Burns, which is in the direction I'm going. Could be a long day. I made it to Burns. I wasn't filming, but the two bikes up ahead of me are on a trailer. And he passed me by, probably doing, over 70. And as he passed me by, he had a 10 or 20 gallon fuel tank back there, and it came flying off. And I'm doing highway speeds. Fortunately, I was able to maneuver, and the tank went off on the side of the road. But they don't know, they don't have a tank there. That was about 20 miles ago. So I'm going to try to see if they pull over for gas and let them know that they lost their fuel tank, and perhaps let them know that it almost wiped me out, but not their fault. You guys lost your fuel tank.
Yeah, really?
It came right when you passed me by. It came flying out of there. I had to do a little bit of a evasive mover. I don't blame you. I was, it was a ways you were up, but it kept bouncing in the center of the road, and then it finally went off to the side. I'd say it was about 20 miles ago. So, yeah, just in case you don't go home and say, hey, somebody stole my tank. No, it's on the side of the road. I don't know if you want to go back and get it. It might not be worth it at this point.
Yeah, probably not. Sorry about that. Evade stuff flying off.
Yeah, I know. Well, I might made it.
Yeah.
I've stopped to take a break here on the side of the road. The wind is starting to pick up and make it very unpleasant riding. Still a long ways to go. Very open area out here, very remote. So I'm going to get back on the bike, put some more miles. My neck is starting to hurt, arms hurting and all. Still haven't decided whether I'm going to spend the night or try to make it all the way through. It's not ideal. Well, I took a break here from fighting the wind, found this road, and thought I'd just take a little adventure to see what's up here. Well, I've decided that I'm going to head on all the way back home. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I've got plenty of time. I'm about 3 hours out. So if I went straight through, I'd be home 5 or 6, and if I take my time, maybe 7 o'clock. It's a little windy, but the wind's going to be there probably tomorrow as well, and there will be rain. So
I'll avoid all that, and I'll have to forfeit my one night's fee that I paid at the Airbnb. But that's how it goes sometimes. I think I'll just play it safe and take the $390 back home. Some wind and the rain has started, but it's not too bad yet. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse. I still got I'd say an hour and a half left. Oh, the wind, I hate it. Made it. Well, as you may be able to tell, I am back from the Giant Loop rally in Crane Hot Springs, southeastern Oregon. That rally was a little while back. I'm out for a day ride now. But I wanted to give a little bit of a review of the rally, since this is the first rally that I've ever done. And the questions are, did I have a good time? Was it worth it? And would I go back to this rally again? I'll give you the quick answer to those three and then explain a little more detail for those that want to know. But did I have a good time? Yeah, I had a good time there. I had a good time on the way there as well. Was it worth it? I think this trip was worth the effort, but tied to question number 3, would I do it again? I don't think the effort is worth for me to go back and do this again. It's kind of like a been there, done that at this point in time. So what did I like about the rally? Well, I apologize up ahead because I made notes here and might have to refer to them. But one of the things that I enjoyed about the rally is they had a dozen or 2 dozen routes that they had already scouted out. They had the GPS files for these routes and a short description of each of the routes that you could ride. So that was a plus. There was a hot springs pool, which is hard to deny that wasn't fun after a long day of riding the soak in the hot springs at the campground. There was kind of a happy hour every night, free beer, wine, and soft drinks. So that was always nice. I didn't have to worry about bringing any of that along. There was a lot of attendees that brought a variety of bikes. I'd say there was probably more people that trailered their bike to this event than rode it. And I guess I understand it. If you're coming from 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles, you might want to trailer it as opposed to riding it. I rode it, and the problem I had, I guess, was that it was a day-and-a-half ride for me. I could have done it in a day, but I did a day and a half, and so I was already a little bit tired before the start of the rally. Now, there was a lot of people to talk to at the rally. They said about 750 attendees, and I had a number of people who recognized me, came up and said hi. I really appreciate that. Hello to all of you if you're watching this too. Thanks for coming up and saying hello. Nice to see who's on the other side of the camera sometimes. I enjoyed talking to a lot of folks there. My campsite that I was at, kind of tended to just hang around there. So talk to those half a dozen or more people that were camped in close proximity to me. So that was enjoyable too. So what did I not care for about the rally? It was fairly well organized, I'd say, but the camping area was quite small, so we were all jam-packed in there, those of us that rode on our bike with a tent. And so it became, a little bit noisy, I guess. I thought it'd be more spread out than it was. It was kind of on a hill too, so if you didn't get there early and get a prime spot, you were sleeping on a hill. I was right next to the road. I think the other thing, which is probably true to all the rallies, is there was pretty much nothing but motorcycle talk for 3 days. So by day 3, I was kind of ready to talk about something else. A little bit of a burnout there. I think also their GPS tracks were great. However, a lot of them were a ways from the Hot Springs campground. So in other words, you had to ride 20 or 30 miles on pavement just to get to the ride. Then you'd do the ride and have to ride 20 to 30 miles back. So a lot of the rides were a little bit further away than I thought they were going to be. And that was a surprise to me. I thought there'd be a lot more rides within a mile or two right out of the Hot Springs campground. I think also the other thing that happened was there was one gas station about 5 miles away, and right off the bat they ran out of gas. I was glad that I had filled it up right before I got to camp, because I was afraid they were going to run out of gas, and sure enough they did. They filled it back up, but it took about a half a day to get a tanker in there and get some more gas. But a bit on the good side too, a lot of the rides, they had a variety. So you could go in the high desert, you could go in the true desert or up in the mountains. You could, ride amongst trees or rocks, a higher elevation. So they did have a nice variety of rides. It just, some of them took a while to get to. Another feature that I didn't care for, and I'm not sure if this is on other rallies too, but there was no sort of organization to make solo riders meet up with other similar and like-minded riders. So I tended to just talk, like I said, and hang around the people around my campsite, and most of them already were paired up with other riders, or they were taking rides that I didn't want to take, either too much pavement or too difficult, let's say. And so it wasn't straightforward in how to find somebody else to really ride with. That was a big disappointment for me. I think they could do a better job of having a sign-up board or some way that people at the rally can connect, especially solo riders like myself. So would I go back to the Giant Loop rally in particular at Crane Hot Springs again? I'd say the odds are no, that I'm not going to do that. As I said earlier, been there, done that. So part of it is not the fault of Giant Loop or the Hot Springs. It's just, I've already done that one. I'd kind of like to try a different one. So if I do a rally again, which is another question, would I do any rally again? I think the answer to that is yes, I would. But I think if I go next year, let's say, I'm going to pick a different rally to go to. This way I'll be able to compare and see if that's just kind of how rallies are, or if there is a big difference between, rallies from a self-satisfaction standpoint. So yeah, I think I really had a good time. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the ride there. The ride back was windy and wet, not so fun. I enjoyed the people that I met, the camaraderie. I think Giant Loop did a decent job, of it. Again, it's hard for me to judge, having not been to a different rally, but overall, I'm glad that I did it. I really am glad I did it. So I hope you enjoyed this little series. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time on One of My Senior Moments.